Hello and welcome back to Outside Views, your dedicated lens on the seismic shifts and quiet tremors that reshape our world. And today we're plunging into a topic that has fundamentally altered the economic landscape of a major global player. The enduring influence of Brexit on the British retail industry, a narrative that has unfolded dramatically from 2016 right up to the present day. It's a story not of a single event, but of a prolonged, complex and often challenging adaptation as an entire sector grapples with the profound implications of a political decision that redrew the lines of trade, logistics and labor. When the United Kingdom voted to leave the European Union in June 2016, the retail industry, a cornerstone of the British economy and a massive employer, found itself on the cusp of an unprecedented period of uncertainty and transformation. Initially, the immediate aftermath of the referendum saw a surprising resilience in consumer spending, with some analysts suggesting a shrug-off effect where shoppers continued their habits, perhaps fueled by a temporary dip in the pound, making exports cheaper for a short while. However, this initial buoyancy, often misinterpreted as a sign of minimal impact, soon gave way to the far more complex realities that began to emerge as the UK prepared for and eventually enacted its departure from the EU Single Market and Customs Union on January 1st in 2021. The foundational pillars of the retail sector, supply chains, labor availability and regulatory frameworks, were all placed under immense pressure, forcing businesses, from local high street shops to multinational giants, to fundamentally re-evaluate their operational models. One of the most immediate and pervasive impacts has been the dramatic increase in trade friction, a direct consequence of the new customs border between the UK and the EU. Retailers now face a labyrinth of increased customs paperwork, of complex declarations, and evolving product regulations for goods moving across the channel, requirements that have not only slowed down exports, but also have significantly elevated operational costs. For many businesses, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises, the so-called SMEs, that previously enjoyed seamless trade within the EU, this bureaucratic burden has been a significant shock, requiring investments in new compliance expertise, in specialized software, and additional staff just to navigate the new landscape. The sheer volume of new paperwork and the necessity for meticulous adherence to varied regulations mean that goods take longer to cross borders, leading to frustrating delays and, in some cases, a complete rerouting of supply lines, abandoning established efficient pathways. Statistics vividly illustrate this disruption. UK retail sales to the EU have plummeted by billions of pounds since 2019, with non-food retail exports shrinking significantly, particularly in sectors like clothing and footwear, which have seen a drastic decline in sales to the EU. And this decline comes despite a flourishing European e-commerce market, underscoring how trade frictions are directly limiting British retailers' ability to tap into a lucrative adjacent market that was once easily accessible. The shift is so profound that categories like health and beauty, electricals and DIY and gardening now constitute the bulk of UK retail exports to the EU, largely due to their less perishable nature and different supply chain dynamics compared to fashion. Beyond the customs complexities, Brexit has undeniably exacerbated existing labor shortages across the retail sector, particularly in crucial areas like logistics, warehousing, and even customer-facing roles. The end of the free movement of people has significantly reduced the pool of EU workers who historically filled many of these positions, creating a persistent struggle for retailers to recruit and retain staff, leading to increased wage inflation and operational challenges. Many businesses have reported difficulties in finding HGV drivers, warehouse operatives, and other essential personnel, leading to bottlenecks in the supply chain, delayed deliveries, and ultimately empty shelves, directly impacting consumer experience and sales. This labor crunch has, in turn, promoted some retailers to explore investments in automation and technology, seeking to reduce their reliance on human labor, a long-term strategic shift that is accelerating in the post-Brexit environment. The financial burdens on retailers have also multiplied, extending beyond direct trade costs to encompass new requirements for VAT registration across multiple EU countries for those still attempting to sell into the bloc. Regulatory divergence between the UK and the EU poses another ongoing challenge. As the UK develops its own product safety standards and the regulations, like the UK CA mark replacing the CE mark for many products, British retailers must often comply with both sets of rules if they wish to sell in both markets, adding layers of costs and complexities. This dual compliance necessitates additional testing, labeling, and certification, a significant drain on resources, particularly for smaller businesses. Despite these considerable headwinds, the British retail industry has demonstrated remarkable resilience and a capacity for adaptation, proving that it's not merely a passive victim of external forces. Many retailers have begun to strategically diversify their supply chains, seeking new suppliers from outside the EU or even reshoring production to the UK, aiming to reduce dependence on European imports and build more resilient, geographically dispersed networks. This pivot towards new sourcing strategies is a direct response to the delays and increased costs associated with EU trade, representing a fundamental rethinking of how products arrive on British shores. Furthermore, the growth of online marketplaces has emerged as a vital lifeline for many UK brands and retailers looking to maintain access to the lucrative EU market. Platforms like ASOS Marketplace and Zalando allow British retailers to navigate some of the logistical and regulatory complexities by leveraging the marketplace's established infrastructure, thereby facilitating cross-border sales that might otherwise be prohibitively difficult. These marketplaces help overcome issues ranging from language barriers and taxation to customs and warehousing, offering a scalable, lower-risk pathway for expansion into new territories. Consumer spending habits have also seen nuanced shifts, though perhaps not as dramatically as some might have predicted in 2016. While overall consumption volumes have remained relatively stable, there's been a subtle shift towards greater caution, with many households trading down to more affordable options and actively seeking value. The increase in hybrid working has also influenced spending, with a slight decline in work-related consumption offset by continued, albeit cautious, investment in home comforts, reflecting a quiet resilience in how consumers adjust to new economic realities. The pandemic, undeniably intertwined with Brexit's effects, further accelerated the shift to online retail, solidifying e-commerce as an indispensable channel for the vast majority of consumers and retailers alike. This digital acceleration, while not solely a Brexit phenomenon, has provided a crucial avenue for retailers to reach customers amidst physical retail challenges. Looking ahead, the enduring influence of Brexit on the British retail industry will continue to manifest in several key areas. The push for greater supply chain resilience and diversification will likely intensify, potentially leading to more localized production and sourcing, though the economic viability of such widespread reshoring remains a complex question. The ongoing challenges in labor markets, particularly for lower skilled roles, will drive further innovation in automation and potentially necessitate a re-evaluation of immigration policies to ensure a sufficient workforce. Moreover, the regulatory landscape will remain a dynamic space with the potential for further divergence between UK and EU standards, continually requiring retailers to adapt their products, their labeling, and their compliance strategies. The story of British retail post-Brexit is therefore one of persistent adaptation, marked by both significant challenges and a remarkable capacity for innovation in the face of unprecedented change. It's a stark reminder that geopolitical decisions have tangible, daily impacts on industries and individuals, shaping the ways goods are sourced, sold, and consumed, fundamentally altering the very fabric of national economies. So thank you for joining me on this in-depth exploration of Brexit's profound and ongoing impact on the British retail industry. And if you found this analysis insightful, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with those who might find it informative, and subscribe to Outside Views for quite a number of more comprehensive discussions on the forces shaping our interconnected world. Until next time, keep observing the global landscape with a critical and curious eye.